we'll ask the guru himself, Big Game James Allen, on Big Board Sports on a Friday. Good morning, Big Game. How are you?
Morning, Roger. How you doing?
I'm good, man. What's the, do you have an overwhelming headline tonight in week number 2? Let's start there.
I don't really think there's any overwhelmingly, dominant game. There's some interesting ones, certainly, but the game Time Warner's doing tonight is a very interesting scenario with Glens Falls at Chalmont. Chalmont losing at Schuylerville last week, and Schuylerville without a returning starter that played last year. I mean, they had one guy back, Darius Abron, but he broke his leg early in the season last year, and Schuylerville overcame a halftime deficit and then beat the Sabres, and Glens Falls had a nice quality win against Ravenna. So it's a crossover game inside Class B. The first 2 weeks are left to teams playing from the opposite divisions, and certainly from Chalmont's perspective, actually they don't want to go 0-2, and Glens Falls would really be feeling pretty good about themselves going in the West Division play with, or actually now they call it the North Division, but having wins over the top 2 teams from the Rhineford. So that would be a real big road victory if Glens Falls can pull it off. Certainly an interesting game there for those two.
And Big Game, you brought up Schuylerville and the great run that they had last year, and I kind of thought they were going to be down this year. Somebody in the know, very much in the know, informed me yesterday that it's still a really good team. They're really well coached, and don't think Schuylerville is going to be down too much this year. This guy was predicting they were going to go 8-1. He said, now that they got by that one, look out. They're going to get on a roll. They're not going to lose too many games this year.
Yeah, it's a very young team, and the thing is, they have that coaching staff, especially with John Bowen, they have that flex-bone system in place. It's been entrenched not only from the varsity standpoint, but from the JV standpoint. So it's something now that's being used throughout the program, and they've got a very good staff. I mean, they got a couple former head coaches on their assistant staff, including obviously Jack Berger from Troy, and so you have some real good teachers on that staff, and that's the biggest thing for them to overcome was just the varsity nerves, and obviously they did that last week, and that's a huge win for them against a team that was one of the few teams in Class B that had a lot of starters back in Chalmont.
All right, let's go rapid fire. I was not here last week. Zach and I were out in Buffalo for Albany football. So the A team, Chris Honorado and Ashley Miller, handled everything last week. But I tell you what, I was surprised. I was surprised at the score of the Shenendehowa game. Are they going to be down this year?
I don't think they're the top team in the Empire Division, Roger. I think it was proved out by Troy, even though it's a game between 2 teams from the opposite divisions, but Shen doesn't have any returning starter that played every game last year. They have a few guys that played, 5 or 6 or 7 games as starters, but not anybody that played the entire year. Now, the JV team was good, but, Troy, again, has a lot of experience back, and they added Joey Ward, who's, played at Bishop McGinn. Bishop McGinn doesn't have a varsity team anymore. You got John Germanero at quarterback. You got a team in Troy that got to the Class A final last year and felt they had a huge opportunity to get away, and they hadn't played Shen at home in many years, so they were definitely prepared and ready. And Shen is going to be a team, I think, that'll be in the middle of the pack in the Empire, and they've got a very important game tonight, Roger. They're playing at Boston Spa. Boston Spa lost last week, and I think it's certainly a very important game for both teams, given that Albany won against Saratoga on Saturday last week. It makes the teams battling for, last couple of playoff spots in the Empire Division a little bit more in peril now that Albany's got off to a 1-0 start.
All right, rapid fire number 2. Your impressions of Guilderland. I heard a lot of good things in the preseason about Dan Penna's team. They're going to put up some points this year. They didn't disappoint in week 1.
No, but again, Roger, they played arguably the weakest team in AA in Niskayuna, and that's, it's unfortunate. Niskayuna has played the last couple of years as a team that was a AA team but played an independent A schedule, and they struggled to win games. They won some games last year, but not a lot of experience for Niskayuna. So Guilderland, that's certainly a good win, and they got Saratoga this week. They're going to score points. You're right, they are. They've got a tremendous quarterback in George Manopoulos, but they still have some other younger players. They're going to have to integrate and get up to speed, and their true tests are going to come later in the season when they play the teams like CBA and Shen, obviously, later in the season, we'll see exactly where they fall. But I thought they were going to be one of the top two teams in the Empire Division, and they've shown nothing so far that indicates they won't be.
Well, and then the other rapid fire, let me throw Albany High, man, where they garnered the headlines last week, right? They knock off Saratoga. This is a program that has been way down, and it looks like they're on their way up.
Yeah, they are. Certainly Saratoga had some interesting things happen to them. Their quarterback got hurt in the first series. Their backup got hurt on the next play. They were using a third-string guy, which was their starting running back, Darius Wicks. Certainly not the most advantageous position, but, Albany's a team that has some, they have two marquee star players on the offensive side that are back, and Kyer Tillery and Jarrell Cheney. So you have a running back and a wide receiver that are definitely among the top players at their positions. And you got a team that didn't have a JV team last year, but they got a lot of experience, and they won their last three games last year. They won their opener this year. It's the first time they won a regular season game since '07. And they added Mike Simpson on defense, and Mike Simpson, adding a guy at his caliber, who used to be the defensive coordinator at the University of Albany. To add him into the mix, I think is certainly a big coup for Joey DiPiazza, and this team is on a nice little roll, and they're going to have a tough test tonight at CBA. That's certainly the last team to give them a loss. The CBA is probably among the top teams in AA, so we're going to get a little better gauge. But I certainly think they have a chance potentially to make a playoff bid, and that's something they haven't done since Deion Lewis was playing running back as a sophomore in '04.
Big game, James Allen. The matchup tonight that we'll put as our A game. It'll probably be our A game tonight in the Mighty 1-3. Glens Falls at Chalmont. If you're not going out, you can watch that one with Big Game James Allen on Time Warner Cable. Big Game, thanks for a few minutes on the Friday show. We'll talk to you this time next week.
Appreciate it, Roger. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Big Game. James Allen there. A little high school football in the air tonight. Looking forward to it.